So now we got the data from our source from NTNU, the temperature data outside the device or the thing, so to say. So the monitor, or we are getting the temperature from the temperature data from the temperature sensor through the monitor. And now I would like to do a visualization. First off, I would like to do a visualization of the temperature. So I will start by renaming our page, you could call it visualization page. I'll call it temperature. And when I want to add a visualization, I need to be in the report view. Here in the right side, you can see visualizations. It's minimized, so you can expand it. Um, we have a lot of different types of visualizations here. We can even add more, get more visualizations, custom visualizations from the internet that other people have been made, and there are a lot of different ones, and they're really good. But I will start with the line chart. And basically, the way I added it is just by not having anything active. And if I just press the line chart, it will open. And now I have selected it. So basically, I can just click on it and I can make it bigger just to see exactly what's happening. And you can see I can get some help by sizing the thing. But for now, I'll just make a huge line chart so it's kind of easy to see what we're actually doing. So now I want to add data to my chart. So here in the right side of my screen, you can see I have the x-axis and the y-axis. So basically being the horizontal and a vertical line, the x-axis being the horizontal line. And I would like to see my temperature set there. So basically, I will like to see the date or timestamps here at the horizontally, and in my y-axis, I would like to see the temperature. And if you remember correctly, that is the value. It's called value. That column in this data set is called value. And if you look at the data, it looks quite funny, I guess. You can see that it's getting more and more data. But right as of right now, it's gonna sum up the values. So if I change that to average, you can see it's still a bit weird. Um, and I think it has something to do with the way I'm showing the data. So if I, instead of taking all of it, I just take my year, and then I take my month, and then I take my day, you can see that now the data is going to make a bit more sense. So I'm not completely sure why it didn't work when I just added this one, but as you can see, you can actually have you can see hierarchies of how you would like show the data. So first off, I would like to do is divided by year, month, and then day. And if you look at the data, you can see that the temperature, or at least the average temperature, it's varying between 24 and at some points it's 23, but it's quite stable, you could say. It kind of looks like it's going to jump up and down, but a value from 23 to 24, it's not that you would see a big difference. So it's actually quite good if you look at the thermal comfort perspective, or point of view at least. So this is how you do a visualization. Um, Earlier, I mentioned that the column is called value. It would be a good idea to have great names when when doing this, because the names are gonna get put into the tables as well. So, for instance, you can see the name of this table is right now, at least the automatic generated title is called average of value by year, month, and day. And if I go into my Power Query and change that name, you know, to temperature, for instance, then it's gonna be named average value of temperature, or average of temperature by year, month, and day. And that will be a bit better. It will be more informative, and people will actually know what's actually happening. And you can see here in the y-axis is also called the average of value. So let's go in and change that. So we go to our data set, and we go into edit query. Now I've opened my Power Query and I'm looking at the temperature outside the device. Last time we made a step for picking the room. We could also call it picking the sensor, but just remember this is a step. I call this point one, so we know this is an important step, and maybe at some point we need to go back and change it at this step. Okay, so um, so if we, for instance, want to go back, we need to go in and load more. And when we have loaded it, we can change it. So we can change it to another room. So that will be something we have to do here. But now I'm going to add a new step. And this new step is quite simple, actually. But the step is renaming this one. We call it, I just pressed the right button and I have to find the rename button. It's all the way down here. And I call it temperature. And remember that if it's a really good idea to name these things something that you will remember and which is logical, because actually if you're going to use Power BI a lot, Power BI can actually see that if you call this temperature and you have something else called temperature, it's going to say, oh, is this the same temperature? It probably is. So it will actually help you later, and we'll go more into that. If you want, you can actually rename all these steps in Power Query something to remember, but this one I could help call the rename column to temperature, but this is something I'm not going to change back. I'll just press close and apply, and we'll go back into Power BI. After you've finished loading the data, changing the Power Query, you'll actually notice that this data from the table or column is called temperature. And now it's the average. The y-axis is dependent on the average temperature of the. Yeah, it's dependent on the average temperature. Yeah, and you can see that my line chart is its title is called average temperature by year, month, and day, and the y-axis is average temperature, average of temperature. So that's kind of neat. So having good names really helps out. Yeah, you can also, if you want, format this. We could change the y-axis so it doesn't like it's. Right now it's automatically, and it could be a good idea. But let's just say if we know that the temperature is gonna be, we would like to see it from 0 to let's just say 30. Now it's gonna be minimum 0 and maximum 30. And now you'll see the temperature. It's not that. It's more stable, so to say, if you look at it at a bigger perspective. But this is depends on. I mean, at this point, you don't really see what's happening, so you could. And also, sometimes it would be a good idea to actually just leave it on automatic, especially when we're going to use the data visualization as a part of the filtering process, and I'll show you that later. So, for now, I'll just leave it automatically. But for instance, if I wanted to show the outdoor temperature together with the indoor temperature, especially in Norway, you can go to minus maybe 20 or 30 even. So so from 30 it would be something like this. And then we see how the outside temperature is going to go up and down. But for now, I'll just leave it automatically. And so if I just delete it and press nothing, it's going to go back to automatic. So that was our first visualization. As of right now, it really is big. We can change the size later if we want some space. So I think this is fine for me. So I'll just leave it. I mean, do we want a big one or we want a small one? We'll see. We'll just leave it. I think it looks kind of neat like this. So yeah, let's leave it at there.